Now, Amber has found a national award-winning tourism spot in perhaps our best-known region.
This is classic Barossa Valley. The giant palms of Seppeltsfield were planted during the Depression years of the 1930s to keep the workers busy. They have grown into a timeless landmark of one of the valley's oldest wineries. Established in 1851, Seppeltsfield grew into a small village complete with its own vinegar factory, butchery, distillery and smokehouse. Today it remains near the top of the Barossa's must-see list. And just down from Seppeltsfield is an award-winning vineyard retreat that has its history firmly anchored in the Barossa story. Welcome to Seppeltsfield Vineyard Cottage, a meticulously restored 1860s German settlers' cottage nestled among the vines. It's the dream of Sharon Rogers and Peter Milhinch, who fell in love with it when it was little more than a ruin. But they couldn't resist restoring a slice of Barossa Valley history.
We really wanted somewhere that people could experience what we love about the Barossa. It's not just accommodation that we provide. They get to stay in a vineyard, feel the history and the heritage of the place.
And there's plenty of that. 100 years ago, it was home to a family of 7. In 1884, Bertha and Andreas Sanker moved in and raised their 5 children here. For 50 years, Andreas worked as a cellarman at the Seppeltsfield Winery just over the hill.
We think it's really exciting that the Zankers that lived here were a big part of that history in the 50 years that they were in the cottage from early 1880s through to 1920s. So they can stay in the cottage, read all about that, have a sense of Andreas leaving each day to go to work over to Seppelts, and then they can go over and visit exactly where he did go to work. This is the lounge room, and in here we've got the original mud and wood beamed ceilings which have been here for 160 years, which is just amazing. They really made things well back in those days.
The before and after photos prove this was truly a labour of love. The ravages of time, not to mention a few million termites, had taken their toll. But 2 years of solid restoration paid off. Sharon's also come up with some clever ways of hiding the 21st century necessities in a 19th century setting.
And this is my favourite feature in the bedroom, of a lovely piece of timber that was originally covered up with cement when we started renovating, and chipped it away, and underneath was that magnificent piece of native pine.
It's just one of the many treasures they uncovered, like the clawfoot bathtub in the bathroom. It used to be a smelly fish pond buried in the garden. So Peter, this is your patch?
Yes, this is a 10-acre vineyard. There's 5 acres of Cabernet Sauvignon here, and over there 5 acres of Shiraz. It's tiny, but we can be dangerous with that and having a lot of fun with the viticulture and having our wine made for us.
Guests are welcome to wander around the vines. Peter will even give you a guided tour of the vineyard he planted in 1999.
We're part of Barossa Small Winemakers, and essentially our group crush under 100 tonnes. We crush 13, so we're absolutely tiny. But being small, we are able to get under the radar of the big ones and market our wine.
There's something special about being able to wander around the vines with the bloke who planted them and then have a glass of the wine they produce. Peter makes 3 wines, a rosé, an unusually dark blend full of big Cabernet flavour. He calls it a bloke's rosé. There's also a full-bodied Cabernet and Shiraz, both classic Barossa wines. Seize the day. What's behind that?
Well, there is a story. I had cancer in 2002, and when I came out of that, it seemed a very appropriate name, because if we don't seize the day, we'll miss a lot.
And that's pretty well what Seppeltsfield Vineyard Cottage is all about. A peaceful hideaway in a very historic part of the iconic Barossa Valley. This multi-tourism award winner and member of tourism's coveted Hall of Fame is on Gerald Roberts Road at Seppeltsfield and is part of the Seppeltsfield Road Tourism Trail. The The cottage offers exclusive self-contained accommodation for 2 people. For bookings, contact Sharon or Peter on 8563 4059 or visit seppeltsfieldvineyardcottage.com.au.